cinema.
You fuck off, you patronizing bitch. I'm sick of your shit.
I honestly don't know where to start with this. Can you imagine some guy sitting down one day thinking to himself, I'd love to see a movie about Elvis in a retirement home with a guy who thinks he's JFK, and he can be black just to make it more amusing, and they fight against a supernatural mummy who sucks people dry of their souls. Bingo! And that's Bubba Ho-Tep basically in a nutshell, but despite sounding like the most ludicrous film ever, it's pretty entertaining and fun at times. Now, I first discovered it when I read the story in 2008, see, that's me reading it just there, and I thought it was hilarious, so I had to see the film. So it stars Bruce Campbell as Elvis Presley, and yes, he's meant to be the real Elvis Presley, even though everybody else thinks he's just a demented Elvis Presley impersonator. Although he does explain to us later on that he switched places with an Elvis Presley impersonator so he could live a normal life and escape all the confines of fame. So the opening scene has Elvis complaining about his dick not working, and this pretty much sets the tone for the rest of the movie. Now, I don't normally praise people or films much in my reviews, mainly because I review stuff that resembles pieces of shit, but Campbell gives an excellent performance as the king. Now, Elvis fans are notorious for being overly protective of Elvis's image. I'm one of them. But this is pure tongue-in-cheek and you can't help but laugh at it. So anyway, Elvis starts to have these strange visions which don't get explained at all as to why he has them or what they mean. That's bullshit. Now we get to see some weird shit happening when this old bag is attacked in bed by what she thinks is a giant cockroach.
I'm gonna squish you, cockroach.
Brilliant. She doesn't do a good job though at squishing it, and then some weird glowing cowboy appears in the corner. What? Who's he meant to be? Well, that's Bubba Ho-Tep if you were wondering, and yeah, he's a cowboy mummy. Oh yes, I think I'll make him a cowboy as well, just so people will think I'm a drug lord. Elvis is then attacked by this giant flying bug, but he eventually stabs it with a fork and electrocutes it. Don't ever fuck with the king. So let's take a look at Elvis's best friend, JFK. Now he's mental if you were wondering, so what happened to his brain when he was assassinated?
I got a little bag of sand up there now.
Ah, a bag of sand of course, but JFK was white, so try and get yourself out of that one.
That's how clever they are. They dyed me this color, all over.
Ah, dyed him. Excellent. The guy has an answer for everything. So, JFK and Elvis team up when they suspect something is seriously wrong at their retirement home when people start dying. I mean, my first thought would initially be, must be some ancient cowboy mummy who wants to steal my soul. Why he's knocking off old folk in a retirement home is beyond me though. Easy pickings, I guess, but he didn't count on Elvis and a black JFK just waiting around to kick his ass. Now speaking of asses, the cowboy mummy takes people's souls via a person's bottom. I'm not fucking joking either. Let JFK tell you like it is.
And had his mouth over my asshole.
Yeah, that's just plain weird. Ooh, what a grand idea. Absorbing souls from... You asshole! An asshole! Sure, it's daft, but that's the whole point of this movie. Now, there is a fair amount of filler throughout the film, including endless scenes of Elvis and JFK lying in a bed, sitting on chairs, riding in wheelchairs, sitting on a bed eating, sitting in the dining room, going to the toilet together to read ancient Egyptian writing on the wall. Yeah, you heard me correctly, it's crazy. Now, speaking of crazy, check this madness out. Just another normal day in the old retirement home, walking around being the Lone Ranger and calling a rotting cowboy mummy an asshole. And he dies of a heart attack. Okay. Now if I ever get to the retirement stage of my life, I'll speed around in a wheelchair shouting out asshole and a few other choice words like Zardoz and oh my god at random old people. You'd probably strike them dead with a heart attack, but oh well, I'll just blame it on a cowboy mummy. So, I'm starting to run out of things to say about this now. But forget what I've got to say about this film. What has some random goon got to say about this movie review? Some goon? Remember that guy who went, Susan!
We're looking for her! Susan!
Yeah, in Grim Weekend. Like, Camp Blood. No, it was definitely Grim Weekend. What's that got to do with this film?
Yeah, we're a bit random.
Susan! Now JFK, despite knowing this is the most epic battle of his life, decides to take a cat nap, leaving Elvis to get the shit kicked out of him. Campbell attempts a few times to do some of Elvis's famous karate moves, but being an old man, his hip prevents him from doing anything remotely like that, apart from making an ass of himself. JFK wakes up just in time to save Elvis at the expense of his own life, and he dies, but at least his soul is intact. Cowboy Mummy suddenly vomits up digital hieroglyphics, and then an English translation floats below them, which is really strange. So Elvis flames the son of a bitch. Woo! What a film! Naturally, the mummy returns, so Elvis recites an ancient spell which is laughable, and he doesn't even seem impressed or convinced with it, whilst we get more ridiculous digital flying writing appearing. I remember reading this part in the book and thinking it would look pretty odd, but I suppose it's creative in a hey, I'm a cowboy mummy so I can do whatever the fuck I like kind of way. Sort of. Elvis drives into him using JFK's wheelchair and they tumble down the hill. Oh no! Elvis is injured, but he tortures the mummy again, who this time does die, as does the king. Elvis has left the building. So, you know, it's a fun and largely unknown movie shot on a very low budget, and I can actually see it becoming something of a cult hit over time. Now here's something I just noticed, which is quite amusing. Here's a scene of Elvis being a lazy bastard as usual, laying on his bed, and look who's in the scene, standing up, JFK. I thought he was in a wheelchair. Oh, look, double whammy, he just walked off. Probably to get his wheelchair. Oh dear, that's mental. So if you're a fan of Elvis, Bruce Campbell, JFK, cowboy mummies, or if you just want to see what life is like for people in their retirement years, check out this film. 7 out of 10.